Okay, good morning history buffs, history lovers. Welcome to a new episode of History by Bike. And for this episode, we will be talking about the Laguna Lake expedition undertaken by General Lawton in April of 1899. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is History by Bike. Oh, and by the way, we will be speaking in English for this entire episode, so please bear with me. Please stay tuned. We just happen to live nearby Laguna Lake. It's like around 1 kilometer from where I live. So we're now heading to a place they call Poruntal Park. So basically this is it. We're now at the place called Poruntal Park, and this is the western shore of Laguna Lake. So if you could just imagine Lawton's expedition traveling through this area. They came from over there in Makati, San Pedro de Makati, and they used steamboats and cascos to get over this location, traveling through Laguna Lake, going all the way there to Santa Cruz. That must be where Santa Cruz is, at the southern end of Laguna Lake. Okay, so first we're going to talk about General Henry Ware Lawton. So who Henry Lawton is. Look, there's a horse at the back. So General Lawton was a US Army officer, and he was assigned here in the Philippines around March of 1899. He was tasked to go here to our country, and he was actually the second highest ranking American officer, US Army officer, tasked to engage in the Philippine-American War. So things had went south already. By this point in time, the Philippine-American War actually began in February of 1899. So around March, General Lawton was already here in the Philippines. So also, just to give a little background there about the general, he was a Civil War veteran, by the way. So by the 1860s, he was engaged in numerous battles, engagements during the American Civil War, and he was also given the Congressional Medal of Honor. He was an awardee for the Medal of Honor actually. He was a veteran of around 22 engagements during the Civil War. So after that, General Lawton was mustered out of the army, but just for only a short while, because later on he will be again reinstated in the US Army. So it was just really a very short while that he was not in service. And after that, also during the early phases of the Spanish-American War, he was also assigned to Cuba. So he also supported the American advances there, and actually he became a support for the famous Rough Riders of that group that was started by Theodore Roosevelt. So after that, he was sent to the Philippines since the Philippine-American War had already broken out. Okay, so just an addendum to General Lawton, by the way. So he is known also to ride a horse, just like this one. He was actually tasked as well to hunt down the Indian leader Geronimo. So he actually chased that Indian leader, American Indian leader, in a campaign to quell the Indian tribes, and he was able to do so, and he became quite famous for his campaign to hunt down the leader Geronimo. In April 1899, during the Philippine-American War, Major General Henry Ware Lawton led a daring mission known as the Lawton's Lake Expedition. After the U.S. forces captured Malolos, Lawton and his troops were sent south to Laguna Province. Their goal was to take control of Santa Cruz, a stronghold held by Filipino forces under General Juan Cailles. The expedition took place over 4 days, from April 9 to 12, 1899. It involved a series of battles in the towns around Laguna de Bay. Lawton's men fought hard against the Filipino forces, facing ambushes, strong defenses, and harsh conditions. Despite the challenges, the U.S. troops succeeded in their mission, capturing key towns like Santa Cruz and Paete. The Lawton's Lake Expedition was part of the broader efforts by the U.S. military to weaken Filipino resistance during the Philippine-American War. Following the capture of Malolos, the Americans turned their attention to the southern provinces, where Filipino forces were still strong. The capture of Santa Cruz, a town in Laguna Province, became a key objective for the U.S. forces. Santa Cruz, located about 48 miles or 80 kilometers from Manila, was one of the most important towns in Laguna Province. It served as a stronghold for Filipino forces and was seen as a gateway to other key towns in the region. By capturing Santa Cruz, the U.S. forces would not only weaken the local resistance but also gain control of a critical area surrounding the lake. Major General Henry Ware Lawton was assigned to lead the expedition. His mission was to capture Santa Cruz and other nearby towns, cutting off Filipino communications and clearing the path for further U.S. advances. Filipino defense under General Juan Cailles. The defense of Santa Cruz and the surrounding areas was led by General Juan Cailles, a seasoned Filipino commander. Cailles, who had fought in the Philippine Revolution against Spain, was a highly respected leader and skilled strategist. His forces were prepared to defend their territory, setting up defenses and building breastworks to resist the advancing U.S. troops. Although Cailles and his men were determined to hold their ground, they faced several challenges. The Filipino army was smaller and less equipped than the U.S. forces, and they had limited resources to maintain long-term resistance. Despite this, Cailles' knowledge of the local terrain and his tactical abilities made the defense of Santa Cruz a formidable challenge for Lawton and his men. In the face of these preparations, Lawton's forces began their expedition, leading to intense battles in the days that followed. The journey to Laguna de Bay. On the evening of April 8, 1899, the U.S. 2nd Division gathered along the Pasig River at San Pedro de Makati, just east of Manila. The troops, a mix of regular infantry and volunteer units, were carefully organized and equipped for the mission. They boarded a fleet of vessels, including 8 steam-powered launches, 17 cascos, flat-bottom boats, and 2 bancas, native boats, which would take them on their journey towards Santa Cruz. As the men boarded the boats, the atmosphere was tense yet focused. The soldiers understood the significance of their mission to capture a key Filipino stronghold and secure the surrounding region. The boat sailed out into the night, heading towards Laguna de Bay. Lake Laguna played a crucial role in the expedition. As the largest freshwater lake in the Philippines, it provided a vital waterway for moving troops and supplies quickly across the southern provinces. The lake allowed the U.S. forces to bypass difficult terrain and avoid heavily defended land routes, making it a strategic advantage for Lawton's campaign. By navigating the lake, Lawton's men could approach Santa Cruz from the water, giving them a surprise advantage over the Filipino defenders. The lake's wide open waters also made it easier for the American gunboats to provide support during the landings and subsequent battles. On the morning of April 9, 1899, at around 10:30 a.m., the U.S. forces began landing south of Santa Cruz. The landing took longer than expected due to the size of the force and the limited number of boats available. As darkness fell, some troops were still disembarking from their boats, making it difficult to establish full control of the beachhead. As the last of Lawton's troops came ashore, a small skirmish broke out to the right of the landing area. Filipino forces, aware of the approaching Americans, had prepared to resist their advance. In the darkness, the U.S. soldiers faced a chaotic scene with limited visibility and sporadic gunfire from the Filipino defenders. Despite the confusion, the skirmish remained a minor engagement, and by morning, Lawton's men had secured the landing area. The stage was set for the advance on Santa Cruz, but the early resistance showed that the coming battles would not be easy. This landing marked the beginning of a series of fierce engagements as Lawton's forces prepared to push inland and take control of Santa Cruz from General Juan Cailles and his Filipino troops. The capture of Santa Cruz on April 10, 1899 was a key moment in General Henry Ware Lawton's Laguna campaign. Lawton and his forces moved quickly after landing to take control of this important town, which was strongly defended by Filipino forces. One of Lawton's first moves was to cut the telegraph line that connected Santa Cruz with the north, effectively severing communication between the Filipino defenders and General Emilio Aguinaldo, the leader of the Philippine forces. By disrupting this vital communication link, Lawton made it more difficult for the Filipinos to coordinate their defense and receive reinforcements. This strategic move gave the US forces a significant advantage as they prepared to attack. The battle at the bridge outside Santa Cruz. As Lawton's troops advanced towards Santa Cruz, they encountered strong defenses at a bridge just outside the town. The bridge was heavily guarded by Filipino forces who were determined to stop the US advance. Lawton, known for his aggressive tactics, ordered a charge on the bridge. The 14th U.S. Regular Infantry Regiment, supported by volunteers from the 1st Idaho and 1st Washington Regiments, led the assault. The charge was intense, with both sides exchanging heavy fire. Despite the Filipino defenders' efforts, the Americans managed to break through the defensive line, forcing the Filipino forces to retreat. Meanwhile, dismounted troops from the 4th U.S. Cavalry Regiment landed just north of Santa Cruz. These soldiers, who had served under Lawton in earlier campaigns, came ashore under fire from Filipino forces. With the support of the gunboats Laguna de Bay, Oeste, and Napindan, the cavalry managed to drive the Filipinos back from the beach. The gunboats played a crucial role in the capture of Santa Cruz by providing covering fire and helping to clear the way for the infantry and cavalry. Their firepower helped neutralize Filipino defenses, making it easier for the US forces to take control of the town. By the end of the day, Lawton's forces had successfully captured Santa Cruz. The Americans suffered relatively light casualties, with 1 soldier killed and 6 wounded. In contrast, the Filipino forces faced heavy losses, with 96 killed and 41 captured. Alright, so in his campaign to engage the Philippine Revolutionary Forces here in the southern part of Manila, General Lawton actually had to go all the way to the southern end where the town of Santa Cruz was located. So at the time, Santa Cruz was actually the capital of Laguna province, and it was its capital during the last part of the Spanish rule here in the Philippines. So that was their target, and in Santa Cruz, the general that Filipino general that was leading the forces there was actually General Juan Cailles. Juan Cailles was a veteran of the Philippine Revolutionary Forces, and he was a force to be reckoned with in this part of southern Luzon.